I'd like to thank everyone for coming. We're going to get started in just a minute. All right. Okay, Danny, you want to start the recording?
It started.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our presentation today. There we go. So this presentation will be recorded, just so everyone knows. Our quick overview of our agenda, we'll have some opening thoughts. We're going to talk about the types of business professionals, building relationships, the types of referrals, the different types of BNI members. We're going to talk about some change. Then we're going to delve into your clients. We're going to talk about those who are struggling to generate referrals, some next steps, and then we will open it up for questions and answers. So the chat box today will be monitored by Dana and George. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type those in. Please do not private message me any comments, because I will not be watching the chat box, so I will not see them until the end of the presentation. So you can just type them in generically or directly to Dana or George. The presentation is designed to help you succeed and look at BNI in a different light. We'll be giving you some examples throughout the morning of what members have done to change, to be successful, and let's delve right into it. So first of all, I want to make sure everyone understands that we are all in this world together. We need to collaborate, we need to work together, and then we can achieve our common goals. We know through BNI and Givers Gain that we can do far more business working together as a group than we ever could do on our own. This means you need to build relationships for the future. As a lot of us are still locked down right now, this is the time to start building those relationships, as it's hard to do it on your own. So you should be inviting people into your network and sharing your network with others that may not be connected to you now. So that could be mean going into your other forums, like your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Rolodex, and look for other business people to invite into your network. I'm also very well aware that building your business can have many obstacles, especially in this time period. Even without the pandemic, there are always many obstacles to overcome as a business person. The work is always difficult, and no one really wants to do it for you. But together as a team, we can all grow together. When building relationships, I always like this quote from Kobe Bryant: the important thing is that your teammates have to know you're pulling for them and you really want them to be successful. So if you help them be successful, again, in return, they will help you. One of the first things I really want you to think about is, where is your business? So for those who have not really thought about this, there are two main types of downturns, whether you're talking about business downturns or economy downturns. So right now, we are in the beginning of what's called a V downturn, right? We hit a wall and we went right to the bottom in a sharp drop off. So the question is, what will your business be in the future? Will you have a sharp return, making it a V downturn? Or are you going to be lingering in the bottom where it may become more like a U downturn, where you hit the bottom quickly and you lay there for a while and then you start to come back up? So my goal in this presentation is to help you be more of a V downturn, so where you're going to hit the bottom, then turn around and come right back up. So the amount of effort that we all put into it now will determine how fast we come out of this and whether your business is a V or a U. So next thing I want you to think about is, do you really understand how your clients see you in this environment? And later on, we'll talk about having contact with your clients. Where are you now? Have you thought to put a game plan together where you're going to be in 3 months, 6 months, or even 12 months? And then the next part of this game plan is, what do you need to do to get there? And you need to start putting that strategy together now, because if you wait till later, it'll be too late and you will be in that U downturn. As I said earlier today, we're going to be discussing different scenarios throughout the morning. So the first one I want to talk about, we're going to have these problem solutions. We have a person who's a BNI member who's a personal stylist. She makes custom clothing for men. So how does she now do business? So her solution was to send you links with options of colors and styles, and then she comes to your house and drops off samples and a cloth tape measuring at your doorstep and leaves. Then you get on a virtual call, whether it's Zoom or FaceTime. If you're a new client, you go through the measuring process. She places the orders with a free exchange policy. If you're not happy with what the clothing is, and then it'll be replaced. So again, not being able to get face-to-face to being able to do business. Now let's talk about some business professionals. In my view, there are basically three types of business professionals in this time period. And the three types are the powerhouse, the I don't know, I'm not sure, and the oh, woe is me people. So first, let's talk about the powerhouse. They're busier than ever. They have a large increase in business due to the current conditions. So some of these types of businesses would be people in the mortgage, because now the interest rates drop, so the mortgage people are doing refinances. Printers are making personal protective gear. Sign companies are making those floor signs and different banners about social distancing. Bankers are swamped with the PPP loans. So there are those businesses that are just powering through this and making more money than they ever made in the past. And then we have the I don't know business professional. These are people that they have products and services, they can sell them, they're just not quite sure how to do it, they're trying to figure it out, and maybe they're not there yet. They still need to figure out how to adapt and what the new world is going to look like. So these types of professionals, they could be someone selling nutritional products where they have products, but they got to figure out how to get it out. Personal trainers, how do personal trainers who normally brought someone into the gym survive? The clothing providers, which we talked about and contractors have gone through a big change. They can go out and do work, but do their employees want to do the work? How do they do the work? Do people want them in their homes? Are they comfortable with people coming into their homes? So there's a lot to figure out. So they may not be there just yet. And then you have the oh, woe is me business professional. This is the one that says, I'm not allowed to work. The current circumstances are preventing me from making a living. I guess I'm just going to sit back and wait and see how this all plays out. So those are the way I see it. And now what I really want you to do is to think about very quickly, we're going to be doing some work in the chat box today. So real quickly, what I want you to think about is, where do you see yourself? Where do you see your business? Are you the powerhouse? Are you the I don't know? Or are you the oh, woe is me? So if you would like, real quickly, just type it in the chat box so we can get a feel for how you think about yourself right now. And it's okay for the people that say, I'm not sure and I don't know where I fit in yet. Those are good too.
Hey, Dave, I really hope you don't think I'm going to be able to keep up with all these things coming in.
No, I don't. It's okay.
Okay, good. All right.
Good. I see a lot of powerhouses. That's fabulous. A couple I don't know. That's all right. That's all good. Wonderful. All right. Well, you guys can keep typing. I'm going to continue to the next problem and solution. So the personal trainer problem issue, they're no longer allowed to bring people into their gym. So how do you solve this? Well, they could call their clients up and ask what they have in their house. All of us have things in our house, whether it is gym equipment or things that we wouldn't think about as having gym equipment, like chairs and using your door frames and using different things you have in your house. So high quality personal trainers can look at what you have in your house, do a FaceTime or a Zoom call, and create a workout and then get paid electronically. So again, someone who may have thought they can't make a living now has the opportunity to if they just change their thought process. So have you thought about how you can market yourself right now? All right. What can you do differently? How can you do it differently in today's market so you can still make a living? What have you changed in your business so far? And how do you see it helping you succeed in this new world? So again, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to be reviewing all these answers after the call and putting it together. So if you wouldn't mind, if you could type in the chat box real quickly, what are some of the solutions you may have come up with when we first went to this no contact environment? You wouldn't mind typing some of them in for me?
That's cool. James said Zoom virtual tours.
Yeah, I know there's some people that are doing organization in their house. They're doing that through Zoom now too, so yes. Here's some great ideas. Wonderful. Great. Yep, a lot of Zoom, a lot of virtual meetings, a lot of Zoom.
Yeah, one more, Dave, that I'm going to mention. Lee said virtual organizing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, move that over there. Get rid of this. All right, I'm going to keep going because we're going to run out of time. I'm hoping to keep this within an hour. Thank you for sharing, everyone. All right, so now I want to talk about building relationships, because there are different types of relationships, and this is the time, especially if you're unable to do your job or you're struggling to do your job, this is the time to build relationships and start to bank those referrals for the future. So again, there's multiple types of relationships. So you need to create more business for the future. So you need to plant those seeds now, and planting those seeds means reaching out and building relationships. So there are referral partners, there are strategic alliances, and there are referral introductions. So we're going to look at take a quick look at all three of these. So the first one is the referral partner. This is probably the most common one. We're very, in BNI, we do a lot of this, right? So if you have an HVAC company, you could partner with a chimney cleaning service. Because if I'm going into someone's house doing a clean and check on their heater, that's only half the system, right? So I could be saying, I've only inspected the equipment. The other part of your system is your chimney, which I cannot inspect. Here's a trusted professional that will give you a discount if you give them my name, and thereby giving the chimney company more business. Health insurance and life insurance. You know, an estate planning attorney saying, now that we have your papers in order, have you thought about your finances? Let me recommend a great financial advisor. So payroll recommending a CPA, or a CPA recommending a payroll company. Electricians or plumbers referring out a painter, because when electricians and plumbers come in, oftentimes they have to make holes in the walls and they'll patch them, but they don't paint them. Again, so there's a couple others in here. Now let's talk about the strategic alliances. This is when companies join forces to achieve mutual benefits or mutual goals. The idea in this, again, is that you both profit from the same people. They can be contact spheres, so here's a couple. So let's say you have a very small printing company and you have a very large printing company. The large printing company doesn't really want to get bogged down with small orders. The large printing company that has big presses, they're not making their money off of a set of business cards. However, we have small printers with smaller shops that they specialize in those small jobs. So what if the two of them partnered up together and they decided who's going to do which, so that they can make the most profit off of each job? So the big company is running those bigger orders and giving the small ones to the small company, and they could share their clients together and thereby make more money. Carpet cleaning and house cleaning, right? Every time I go in and clean your house, I could recommend a carpet cleaner. The carpet cleaner could then give a discount to the house cleaning company. Contractors all working together. Contractors and home cleaning. So back when I was an electrician, I had a strategic alliance with the residential home cleaner in our chapter. And what I did was, I knew in my company, I told my employees that when you leave someone's house, it better be cleaner than when you got there. And that was important to me. So what I did was, if I'm putting in recessed lights, I know I'm going to make dust. And no matter how good my guys are at cleaning up, that dust is still in the air. And hours after my company left their house, that dust is going to settle. So what I did was got gift certificates from the home cleaner. And with every job, I gave a gift certificate to have that section of the house clean. So if I was working on the first floor, it would be for the first floor. She then gave me a discount on the work. And every time someone called her, she would let me know. I would pay her for that job. And then what happened was, she started building her business, because these are people that she got in the house. She cleaned that one time. Then they would ask her, well, can you come back once a month? Can you come back bi-weekly or weekly? So thereby having this strategic alliance. So think about who's in your contact sphere and who you could have a strategic alliance with. Now let's move on to referral introductions, right? These are not referrals, but they could turn into referrals. So you could have an auto repair company referring out a personal injury attorney, or you could have a property casualty insurance agent pairing up with a marina. And I'm going to tell this story because George loves this story. So if I had a boat and I take my boat to the marina could then say to the P&C agent, here's a boat, let's make sure that it's properly insured. Now, that's a transaction. Now, the P&C agent could partner with that marina, and that marina owner could say, every time someone comes into my marina, your insurance has to be checked by this particular insurance agent, thereby creating that steady stream of referrals for the P&C agent. And this can turn into, right, wait for it. All right, you ready? A boatload of referrals. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, yeah, I know. All right, so contractors could partner with builders. Maybe a travel agent could partner with a nonprofit to do fundraising through a trip. So businesses can thrive when they find a problem and they create a solution. So one way to think about getting new business in this environment is to think about what problem or problems your business can solve that people are running into right now. Now the next part is you got to create a solution and then find a way to promote it, which will be through your BNI chapters, and that will help people to be able to market it for you. Let's look at another problem. We'll go back to Dana's comment about gray hair, right? So a hairstylist who's not allowed to have people come into their facility, but yet people's hair is still turning gray. Now, certain people have custom colors, right? You can't go to a store or order it off Amazon to get that color of dye. So what this hairstylist did was she will mix up your dye so it matches exactly what she's been doing all along, takes the money over electronically, leaves the kit with your name on it at her doorstep on her store. And then when you're ready to do it, she gets on FaceTime with you or Zoom call, and she talks you through how to dye your own hair. So again, someone that took a problem where the business is shut down and created a solution. So now make a list of the products and services that you can provide. Next, I want you to think about how can you provide them in this new world. And real quickly, if you wouldn't mind again, type in the chat box the type of product that you are now using, or maybe the product that you've always sold, and what new way have you come up with to market it and get it to your clients so your business continues to go. We'll give you a few minutes. Go ahead and type some answers in. I see someone else's stylist is doing this. That's great. That's funny. Yes, that was a Father's Day joke. Yes. Yeah, I see Mary Kate with the porch portraits. That's wonderful. Great answers here. Webinar series is offering free consultations. Great, great, great. Good answers. All right, again, I will compile these later and we'll get them out to everyone. Let's keep going. So even if you're one of those people that hasn't yet figured it out, remember, it's never too late to change. You can make yourself become that powerhouse if you just think about your business a little bit differently and come up with solutions that people need for the problems that they're currently having. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is the 4 types of referrals. So a lot of people are familiar with the transactional versus relationship referrals. So, you know, I've been teaching this in Member Success Program for a long time. So the transactional referrals, getting back to the boat in the marina, you know, the transactional referrals is when I write you a check, right? So it could be that I hire a limo service to take me to the airport. I'd be writing a check to the limo service. However, if I pair George, who's a travel agent, up with a limo service, George could recommend that limo service for all of his clients because it's cheaper than paying the airport parking, and therefore create a relationship referral. So me going to the airport and hiring limo service is a transactional referral. I'm going to write a check. Pairing up a travel agent and a limo service, that becomes a relationship referral, right? The travel agent is never going to write the check to the limo, but that travel agent is going to give a steady stream of referrals. A CPA and a banker, right? Every time the CPA has a new client, they could say, are you getting charged fees at your bank? Are you happy with your banker? Or the CPA could partner up with a bookkeeper. A real estate agent could have a relationship with a lot of people, mortgage broker, home inspectors, contractors. So whatever your business is, you need to build both the transactional side of your business, but you also need to build that relationship side of your business, because that relationship side of the business is the part that will continue to give you business. That's the gift that keeps on giving. Now, the other piece that we often don't talk about is the fact that there are reactive and proactive, right? So reactive is when someone comes to you, like my sister calls me the other day and she says, oh my God, I'm redoing my bathroom. The plumber's tearing everything out, but the floor looks horrible. Do you have someone that can take care of the hardwood floor? That's a reactive, right? She's calling me because she has a problem and she needs it solved and she knows I know people. Now, I recommended her a floor person. He's going to do her floor on Friday. Versus proactively, I know I sent her that plumber a couple months ago to do all her bathrooms, and I know those floors were going to have to be redone. I could have been proactive and said to her, by the way, here's the plumber, but what are you going to do about your floor? I know a professional that could take care of that, and it could have been set up ahead of time. So there are reactive and proactive. Reactive, hot water heater bursts, and you call a plumber, right? Proactive is if I was the plumber and I asked my BNI chapter to remind everyone to look at the date on the hot water heaters. And if that date is 10 or 12 years old, it's only a matter of time until you wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of rushing water. Or the plumber could say, hey, go down in your basement, tell your friends and your family, go down in the basement, look up at the valves. If your valves are green and white with things dripping off of them, they're already leaking. You got to get those done ahead of time. So think about your business. Ask for the reactive, but also be proactive and start generating referrals proactively. Now, again, if you think about, you have transactional referrals and relationship referrals. Under each one of those categories, you could also be writing weekly presentations for reactive and proactive on each side. So if you start thinking about the fact that there are these 4 different types of referrals that could be generated for you and your business, and when you're at your chapter meetings, you start planning this ahead of time. Don't wing your commercials. Sit down, write up a list of who your clients are now, who the clients you would like to have, write up a list of who could be those relationship referrals for you, and then start writing presentations for reactive and proactive commercials for each one of those types of clients. And remember, each one of your weekly presentations, which that list then becomes your great guide for your featured presentation. It also becomes a great guide for your handouts. It's also a great guide for your one-to-ones. Okay? So if you build those out, and remember, each commercial should have 3 parts. The A is going to be someone off that list, whether it's transactional or relationship. The B could be reactive or proactive. How will I know? What will I hear? What will I see? Or what should I ask to generate that referral? And then the part that most BNI members never include in their weekly presentations is, what do you want me to say to that person to make sure that they want to meet with you? So again, I'll repeat this exercise. Make a T like this you see here, write transactional and relationship up at the top, put reactive and proactive underneath that. Beneath that, start listing your clients. Who are these types of people you want to meet? So I'm gonna pick on Lee, our organizer, right now. So who are the types of people she wants to meet in transactional? It's not everyone who has a house. It's not everyone who has an apartment. Specifically, good clients for her are probably going to be a stay-at-home mother with 3 young children, right? Or it could be someone who's running an office out of their bedroom, right? So those could be transactional referrals, and she can talk about the reactive, which is listen for someone complaining, or she could write a proactive, which says, if you know someone who has a small house with many children, ask them if they struggle to keep the house organized. If the answer is yes, I have a perfect person for you to meet. So think about your business and where it fits in, and create a game plan for the future. Let's talk about another problem and solution, a title agency, right? So how do you do a title agency when you're not allowed to be next to someone? So there were a couple solutions that I reached out to some of these people. One of them was they have a delivery service which takes the documents to your doorstep and puts a packet at the door. Then they text you, you go out and you get this packet. In the packet is a pair of gloves, the mortgage documents. Now you get on a Zoom call or FaceTime so the notary can see you signing those papers. You put the papers back in the envelope, you put it at your front door, and then you text the driver to pick it up, and the driver takes it back to the notary to file. So that was one creative way to have this done. All right, let's move on to the 3 types of members, and let's think about which you are. So there are 3 types of BNI members. There are supporters, there are promoters, and there are creators. And we're going to discuss each one. We're going to talk about what makes them who they are, and then we're going to have some thoughts about where you are in your chapter and what you could be. So first, let's talk about the supporter. So these are people that they're going to sit underneath the apple tree, and if an apple should fall off the tree and hit them on the head, they're going to pick up that apple and go, oh, look, an apple. I should give this to someone. These are the type of people that sit in their office, and if a client should call them and ask for something, hey, I need help with this, they'll reply, oh, I think I know someone who can help you. They basically sit at their desk and they wait for someone to call to generate that referral. These are reactive people. They're sitting back and waiting for a situation, and then they react. These are normally the newer BNI members. They've typically been in BNI less than 6 months. In the process of VCP, visibility, turning to credibility, becoming profitability, these are the people that are still stuck in that visibility stage. They're trying to figure things out. They're passing mostly tier 1 referrals, and they're passing mostly transactional referrals. And this is 100% of your chapter members. Whether you have someone that's been in a chapter recently or they've been in a chapter for years, this is 100% of your members. Now the promoter sits under this apple tree and looks up and says, ah, I see those apples and one day they will fall. They're paying attention to their surroundings and waiting and watching for the apple to fall. And they're already thinking about who can I give this to when I finally get my hands on this apple. When someone calls their office, they're already thinking of questions they could ask to generate the referral opportunities for their fellow members. These are active people. They're not reactive, they are proactive. Normally, these type of people have been in BNI 6 to 18 months. They are building credibility with their members. They're passing a lot of tier 2 referrals, mostly transactional, but they are now starting to pass relationship referrals. This is typically about 50% of the members of your chapter. The third one is called the creator. They see those apples and they've come up with a plan on how to get those apples down from the tree, and they already know they're going to pass every single one of you members of the chapter an apple. They produce referral opportunities. They look for ways to generate a steady stream of referrals, and they pass them to the referral partners in their chapter. These members are definitely proactive. Normally, they've been in BNI for over 18 months. They've been to a lot of trainings. They get as much education as they can. They are definitely in the profitability stage. They're passing mostly tier 2 referrals, some transactional referrals, but they're mostly passing those tier 2 relationship referrals, and their relationship referrals are now spinning off to tier 3 referrals. This is a very select group of your chapter members, only a handful in each chapter. So now I want you to think about the members of your chapter. Who are they to you? Do you have supporters? Do you have promoters? Do you have any creators for you in your chapter? What is your team really made up of? The other side of this is think about the members of your chapter. Who are you to them? Are you a supporter of all your members? Are you a promoter? Are you actively promoting your members? Or are you out there creating referral opportunities for the chapter members? Because it's definitely a two-way street here. Now, what I want you to do is think about where you fit in. Think about your place in your chapter today, not where you could be, but where are you today for most of your chapter members? And again, if you wouldn't mind, if you would type those into the chat box for me, just so I can get a little feel for it. Yeah, I knew we'd have a lot of creators, because creators are typically seeking more education. Great, great. A lot of promoters, a couple supporters, that's good. Wonderful. All right, so the next part of this exercise is, you guys keep typing in there, but I want you to log on to, not now, after the training, log on to BNI Connect. I want you to click on Operations. I want you to click on Reports. I'm sorry, that's a mistake. I want you to click on Reports. Then I want you to click on Meeting Notes, and then hit Go. And what you're going to come up with is this report looks like this. A lot of you use this for taking notes at your chapter meeting. What I want you to do is draw a line down the center of the notes section. On the left side, I want you to put I am for you. And on the right side, I want you to put, you are for me. And then take some time and go down this list of all the chapter members and be honest with yourself and write in this, are you a creator? Are you a promoter? What are you? And fill it in as you go down this line. And then start to think about what you can do to change to make things differently. So again, you're going to go to reports. You're going to click on the meeting notes report, click on the word go, print this out, draw a line down the center of the notes section, put I am for you, you are for me, and take a serious look at this. Now on this one, you're the only one who's going to say it. So be real honest with yourself when you're doing this. All right, let's talk a little bit about change, right? Yes, these are my dogs, and this is my youngest granddaughter. So what happens when you change a dog or a baby's routine? If you've had dogs or kids, you know the answer. It never goes well, right? So we know when you change things, there are always some side effects. No one likes change. We all know that. Very few of us are happy for change, but change we must. As those of you who do change in this environment, you will be the ones that are successful. The people that are sitting back and saying, I refuse to change, are the people that are going to be out of business. So think about, how can you change to help your fellow BNI members? What can you do today to make a change in your business? And start to think about these things. Are you willing to do the work to change your status in your chapter? You're going to have to do a lot of one-on-ones. You're going to have to get a better understanding of your chapter members, what their needs are, and how you can support them, right? You can change from that supporter to that promoter. And if you're a promoter, you can change to become that creator as long as you're willing to put the work in. You can find ways to make your business succeed if you just think a little differently. Here's another example. There's a problem when the restaurants first shut down and people that have restaurants couldn't serve food. So this is a chain that's local. I'm not sure if they're national or not. And what they did is I got an email from them that said, we're now opening up the pantry essentials side of our business. And they sent this long list of curbside groceries and items that you could pick up. And like all the meats, it's their cooked meats the way they serve it in the restaurant. And instead of getting a small portion of bacon, you can buy it by the pound. And then you pay over the phone and pick it up. So I thought that was a great way to expand their business. All right, let's talking about contacting your clients. Very few of us do a good job at contacting our clients. And what most of us do is send out a survey. And what you'll find is very few people return the survey. So we have to think out and do things differently. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is reach out to your clients by phone, not a third party, not an email, but reach out to your clients by phone. Ask them, how are they doing? Ask them about their personal life. Ask them about how they're doing in their business. And most of all, ask them, how can I help you? What can I do to help you? What do you think your company, what did you think of my company or our company on your last transaction with us? What did you like best about my company? What did you like best about the company and its services? What could my team have done differently, or what could we have done better to make it a better experience for you and your environment, whether it's your house, your business, whatever it was? So if you start to ask some of these questions, this is the business consultant part of me, you will get answers. The problem is most of us, we don't want the answers, right? We think about our businesses from our viewpoint, and we really don't want to know what our clients think, because a lot of times you're going to bring out the negativity. So if you do this exercise, don't get mad if the answer is not what you thought it should be, right? Don't yell at them. Take it in, thank them for their feedback, and what can you do differently? So now, if you do this with your clients, you will have built a better connection with your clients. You now have added value to your company. You've taught your clients that you're going to bring this added value to them. You're not going to be the cheapest people out there, right? Your companies and BNI members are typically not the cheapest. When you build these relationships, they're no longer going to be worried about being the cheapest or getting the cheapest. They're going to be worried about having and continuing to get the added value that you and your company are bringing them. They're not going to be worried about the price, because they're going to feel that added support that you gave them by reaching out to them and having a conversation with them. Now, as a result of this lockdown, people have a brand new appreciation for the value of relationships, especially those in business. So I recommend you really reach out to your clients and find out how they're doing and ask how they can help. Even if your business can't help them solve their problems, you have this support group of BNI members that can solve their problems. So this, as well as supporting your clients in this difficult time. Now let's talk about referrals, because I've heard a lot of members who say, I have no referrals. I've been on so many Zoom meetings where they don't have them, and they may not be trying. What now, right? So unfortunately, in a Zoom meeting, it's very easy to hide, because most of us are doing our weekly presentations, and then you go right into the I have part of the meeting, and they just put mute. And it's difficult for the president to say, go back to that person and say, hey, you didn't tell us anything. Did you do a one-to-one? Did you pass a referral? What happened? So they're hiding in the Zoom calls. Whereas when we're meeting face-to-face, you have to stand up and you have to participate. So business is being done. There's a tremendous amount of business being done. If you've been on any of the recent town halls, you see we nearly or almost did $1 billion worth of business. So there is hope for those who are struggling. But it comes from asking some simple questions. Talk to the people you know. Talk to your friends, your family, your clients. Ask them what they're stressed out about. Ask them what they need. Ask them how you can help them. And then be a good listener and take notes when they give you this information. This will help you generate referrals. Because with BNI, you have someone that can solve that problem, even if it's not in your chapter, right? So I don't care if you're in a small chapter with 10 members, you have this big support system of BNI Global that can solve any problem that comes across. Referrals can be simple. Look at the easy ones. Call and ask your relatives, how can I help? It's as simple as calling someone up and saying, when's the last time you had your insurance checked? Right? Because most people don't check their insurance. I know someone who can give you a free review of your insurance. When's the last time your financial advisor called you? I have a really great financial advisor who will take the time and talk with you. Even if you don't switch to that person, this person will still review your documents. Become a promoter to all the members of your chapter, not just a supporter. And don't be afraid of the word no, because when you reach out to people and say, can I help you? Or you listen to someone who is complaining, you know, I listen to my mother complain almost every day. She never wants help. She just wants to complain. That's what she does. I don't even ask her if I can help her anymore. I just listen. And when I listen to her complain, I say, great, Mom, have a good day, and I hang up. Most people do want a solution when they complain, but don't be afraid if you get the word no. Don't forget that BNI is a platform for growth. You can network with people in other chapters. So if you're going to build these networks and reach out, don't be afraid to reach outside of your own chapter. BNI has regions throughout our country, throughout the world. They're there for you to meet with. Look outside your chapter for those golden opportunities to build those relationships now, while people are mostly stuck inside and are very open to Zoom calls and FaceTime. All right, let's now move on to what's next, because now's the hard part. Because now we're going to go back to that change, because now you have to make a change to survive. What will you do next? Have you decided on what type of business professional you are? Are you making excuses, or are you creating solutions? And if you were making excuses, knock it off and start creating those solutions. Can you create promoters and creators from the supporters of your chapter? Yes, you can. You just have to do those one-to-ones and make it happen in all education. Will you become a promoter or a creator for your fellow chapter members? Or will you sit back and be happy to just be a supporter? Will you reach out to your clients and get that feedback and ask if they need help? Are you going to create referrals? You're going to sit back and wait for them. Remember to concentrate on what you can change and don't focus on what you can't. Again, I love this quote for Steve Jobs down here. If you define the problem correctly, you can almost always have a solution. Now, next I want to talk about the box, right? We've all been taught to think outside the box. Now, if you've ever been at any of my trainings, one of the first things I say to all BNI members is stay in a box. Don't open the lid to the box. Don't look outside the box. The second you look outside of that box and try and change things, you often will break the BNI system and you will fail in BNI. However, I'm now changing my thoughts on that in this new environment. It is now time to think outside the box. I still want you to remember to stay within the BNI system, because the BNI system works. but you can work the system differently. Again, I love this quote. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves, from Viktor Frankl. So what I'd like to challenge all of you to do is, knowing that we may not be able to change our situations, I would like to challenge each one of you to change yourselves. Think about the things we covered today. Think about what you could do differently starting today. Are you going to look at this presentation and go, well, that was interesting, I learned a couple things? Or are you going to look at today's presentation and actually implement things? Are you going to make up that list of transactional versus relationship? Are you going to look at proactive versus reactive? Are you going to print out that worksheet and look at your chapter members and figure out who you are to them and who they are to you? Or are you going to sit back and go, oh, woe is me? I'm always here to help any of you and all of you. If you have any questions or anything, now's the time. We're going to open it up for some questions and answers. And I'm going to turn it over kind of to Dana and to George. I don't know if questions were typed in or if anybody has some questions. We can now open it up to that.
Yeah, so I have one that's come in, and it's from Claire. Claire's asking, what would not normally be considered a referral that we might consider a referral in this virtual environment?
So oftentimes, a lot of people will not accept introductions as referrals. You know, introduction can be looked at as a lead or a tip. Some members have always agreed with introductions. So some examples, like for a real estate agent, where a real estate agent in the past may say, I will not accept a FSBO, a for sale by owner. Maybe today in this environment, they will accept it because inventory is so low. Maybe in the past, you would not have accepted an introduction to someone in a competing organization. Maybe today you will accept that introduction and see if you can't tell them the benefits of BNI and invite them to come to your chapter. So I think those are kind of the biggest things. It would be from actually accepting those relationship types of referrals versus not accepting them. Because some people don't feel that the relationship referrals are truly a referral until business is generated from them. So I think that's probably the best answer I can come up with for that.
David, we got Ray says, excerpts from this presentation would make awesome education moments for the meeting. Will slides be available for us to use for the egg segment of our weekly meetings?
Hadn't thought about that, but yes, absolutely. I can do that. Dana, I think we can put those up on the Educational Coordinators Resource Center.
Yep.
All right, I'll get them over to you.
Question from Cheryl says, I was told by another member not to submit a tier 1 referral until the transaction was complete. Is this correct? So I think first we should go over what a tier 1 referral is, and then, yeah, sorry, Dave.
So, go ahead. Nope, that's fine. So there are many levels of referrals. A tier 1 referral simply means that I'm the one writing the check. So if you go back and think of what is a referral is the opportunity to do business. It's not a guarantee of business. It is simply the opportunity to do business. It's not a lead or a tip because I've spoken to that person about you. They have agreed they have an interest in doing business with you. They give me all their contact information and permission to pass it along, and they're now awaiting your phone call. In a tier 1, it is you. So you can pass that referral because it's still the opportunity to do business. If you want to get your house painted, you still have the right to say that's too much money, or you have a right to say I agree with that amount of money. So whether or not the transaction becomes thank you for closed business does not change whether or not it was the opportunity to do business. So yes, you should pass tier 1 referrals. So tier 1 basically means I wrote the check. A tier 2 means I'm referring you someone who they're going to write the check. And then a tier 3, again, is the spinoff from that tier 2 referral. So yes, go ahead and pass those tier 1 referrals. Absolutely.
Next question is from Claire, and that is, can people ask for social media referrals, or I'm sorry, can people ask for social media shares as referrals?
So again, we have to stay within the BNI system. So the way I always view this is, if you share a post or if you recommend me on Facebook or other social media, I truly appreciate that. Let me know that you did it and where you did it. as a good business practice, we should always be talking to our new clients and saying, where did you find me? So I will give you one of the examples that I do. You know, my wife works in the operating room. She's a CRNA. And she talks to a lot of people that come right out of school, and she always recommends that they immediately pair up with a really great financial advisor. Sometimes they say, great, have them call me. Other times they say, just give me their card. So, you know, Rob Burnham is my financial advisor, and I then go to Rob and say, here's a list of names that my wife gave your card to. Once those people call Rob, he then contacts me and says, thank you, can you please turn this in as a referral? Because in the beginning, it was just kind of a lead or a tip. So I truly feel that a social media share or liking my Facebook post is not a referral. If you share my post and I get business from it, now it becomes a referral. So that's the best way to answer that question. Dana, George?
There's one from Julie, and it looks like I'm deciphering it. I think it says, how do you keep growing relationships cross-chapter after you... Julie, if you could just retype that question, that would be awesome. And then I'm going to go on to Pez. Pez says, waiting for business to become transactional is waiting too long. In relationship business, you can book work for the future, i.e., the start date for proceeding down the schedule list, begin the day the ban to work is lifted.
That's correct. So that's what I was talking about at the beginning about banking, business banking referrals, right? You can be doing virtual estimates now, and you can be scheduling work for the future, absolutely. The difference is in a social media post, I'm really not involved yet, right? You have passed my post on to your social media, but again, I have no one to contact yet. So when someone contacts me, now it begins that process that Pez is talking about. So yes, that's true.
Eric has not a question, but a statement, and I love it. He says, thanks, David and Dana. I've been a member for over 15 years, receive over 50% of his business every year from BNI. Thanks, BNI. All
Great,
right.
wonderful.
That's awesome. Well, the only way that can happen, though, is if you're doing the things you need to be doing, like you're on this call today. So good stuff, Eric. And that's all I have that has come in so far for questions. Whoop, actually got another one. All right, if you work on growing relationships cross-chapter by doing one-to-ones, how do you keep that new relationship at the forefront of your mind to help generate business for them and vice versa? I think she's asking, because you're not meeting every single week, how do you keep them in your mind?
Great question. So if you're using BNI Connect correctly, you'll be entering all your one-to-ones in the cross-chapter, in the Connect Flips program. You then have a report that you can pull, and you can edit those comments. You can actually go in there and put in dates and times. So the best way to keep up with that is by having frequent contact. So my suggestion would be is to go into your one-to-ones, put the date when you want to contact them next. Maybe it's every 2 weeks you reach out to them. Maybe it's once a month you reach out to them. And then you just keep that relationship going. So you don't have to do a formal one-to-one every other week, but it doesn't hurt for you to make a phone call to that person every other week and just ask, how are you doing? How are things happening for you? Is there anything new about your business I should know to help promote your business? So again, it's keeping that contact, because you're not seeing them every week. So whether you contact them every other week, whether you set a call once a month, just have to find a way to keep that contact going. It's also the same thing if you have a member of your chapter, even though you see them every week, and they used to give you a lot of business, and all of a sudden they stopped giving you a lot of business. Go back to that person and do another one-to-one and say, hey, you know, we used to pass a lot of referrals to each other, but we're not doing that. Let's rekindle our relationship and start that process back up again.
Great comment by Diane. She said, this definitely gave me a source of renewed energy by looking at this pandemic a little bit differently. Thanks for the spark of light. Thanks for the spark to light that fire.
Oh, my pleasure.
Todd said, when will this info be available for an education moment? I have to do one next week. So Todd, honestly, I can get this uploaded probably by the end of the day today. It'll be in the educational coordinator resources. So if you just go, and I guess I'll probably just put it at the top so it's really easy to find.
Why don't we break it each section into a separate
That's
PDF?
going to take longer. I can put the full thing up today, and then the sections we can work on sometime this week.
I like volunteering you for more work.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm updating the website too. That works out great. Yeah, thanks. Dave Handler says, if any of you are open, we have a shop local listing. And all right, let's see. Pez says Ivan's 24/7/30 is a good way to follow up on one-to-ones.
Yeah,
So
there's a
Dave, you wanna talk about that?
podcast. That's a podcast you can go listen to. Yep.
Alrighty, and then we can actually list that as well online for you. All right. Let's see. Any more questions coming in?
At this point, let's keep this going, but why don't we stop the recording so it doesn't get too long, and we'll keep going with the questions and answers.